Hey, Donald, that's what happens when you go full Putin. That's what happens when you put military forces on the streets to attack people who love democracy and who are just trying to survive. That is Belgrade, Serbia, where people fighting for democracy against a repressive, Putin-backed Alexander Vučić regime, the people are rising up and fighting for their lives. The way we see courage amongst those people fighting against the forces in Belgrade, we see, of course, embodied in President Zelensky in Ukraine. We see embodied in pro-democracy forces around the world fighting back against the Trump regime. You have President Zelensky meeting with European allies yesterday, and they jointly made a statement. Under no circumstance will we accept Donald Trump giving up Ukrainian land to Vladimir Putin. We will not allow a Gaza or West Bank style occupation, which is the way Donald Trump and Putin have allegedly been talking about it. That's what the Telegraph is reporting. And they're also reporting that Donald Trump wants to give Ukraine's rare earth minerals to Putin, as well as natural resources from Alaska to Putin as part of opening up economic relations with Russia, because Donald Trump thinks it's going to make him, Donald Trump, rich to do that. You know what Donald Trump was doing yesterday while people across the globe were fighting for their ability to exist as fascist regimes like the regime in Trump's image try to attack them? Here's how one person puts it. For those keeping track yesterday, Trump put himself in charge of the Kennedy Center, then invited himself to host the awards after making himself the chairman, then told himself he was the president, and do I have time to really even host this? But then he humbly accepted the offer from himself before praising himself for honoring himself like no one else could and talking about the ratings that he would be getting. And no, there's no exaggeration there, as Kelly Scaletta, Machine Pun Kelly, puts it right there. And yesterday, Donald Trump's press conference was one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. It was at the Kennedy Center. He was announcing the award ceremony that he's going to host in December. He had these two ladies wearing evening gowns who were unveiling these photos of like Sylvester Stallone while Donald Trump was talking about sending military forces into Washington, D.C. And then he says he will be sending them, just as he did in Los Angeles, into Chicago, into Baltimore, into Oakland, and to other cities with black mayors, basically. And all the while, Donald Trump was talking about how he wants to make the best grass in Washington, D.C. and across the world. He's really focused on grass. This is a big priority. 90,000 square foot ballrooms and grass. Here, play this clip.
We're doing that and doing some other things, and we're going to also fix up a place called Washington, D.C. We're going to make it so beautiful again. We're going to be redoing the parks, redoing the grass. You know, grass is a lifetime, like people have a lifetime. And the lifetime of this grass is long been gone. When you look at the parks where the grass is all tired, exhausted, we're going to redo the grass with the finest grasses. I know a lot about grass because I own a lot of golf courses, and if you don't have good grass, you're not in business very long, Lindsey Graham. By the way, you have very good poll numbers, Lindsey. I just saw. Congratulations.
Grass. What the hell are you talking about? Can you just make things more affordable? Can you stop these wars, which you claimed you would end on day one, but you've only made things worse? Can you not enable people like Putin and Netanyahu? Can you start there? No, of course not, because this is who you are. Yesterday, Donald Trump at this bizarre press conference. Also, this is where he said it. Just so you know that I'm not like making this stuff up. Here, Donald Trump said, I didn't want to host it, but then they told me to host it. And I said I would get the greatest ratings. Here, play this clip.
We officially announced the incredibly talented artists who will be celebrated later this year at the 2025 Kennedy Center Honors. It's going to be a big evening. I've been asked to host. I said, I'm the president of the United States. Are you fools asking me to do that? Sir, you'll get much higher ratings. I said, I don't care. I'm president of the United States. I won't do it. They said, please And then Susie Wells said to me, start like in our house. I said, okay, Susie, I'll do it. That's the power she's got. But I just, so I have agreed to host. Do you believe what I have to do? And I didn't want to do it, okay? They're going to say, he insisted. I did not insist. But I think it will be quite successful, actually.
And that was taking place again at the same press conference where Donald Trump again was having these conversations about Ukraine and about Russia hacking the United States, which Trump's totally okay with. He's, at this press conference, those ladies in the evening dresses randomly talking about Sylvester Stallone and grass. Then he talks about how, yeah, it's normal. Russia just hacks the United States. Whatevs. Here, play this clip.
Hi, sir. There's new reporting that the Russians have hacked into some computer systems that manage U.S. federal court documents. I wonder if you've seen this reporting and if you plan to bring it up with Putin when you see him later in the week.
I guess I could. Are you surprised? Are you surprised? They hack in. That's what they do. They're good at it. We're good at it. We're actually better at it. But no, I have heard about it. I've heard about it.
There is positive news to report in Ukraine, though. The Ukrainian forces powerfully and courageously have been fighting off a Russian advance in the east. Seems that Ukraine has been able to somewhat stabilize those lines right there. As I mentioned, Ukraine had that good meeting as well with European allies. Let's bring you here domestically also, though, and talk about what's going on as well. A lot of economists here, a lot of people in general now have zero confidence in any of the data that's being reported, whether it is jobs reports, inflation report. In the consumer price index right now, it's not ingesting all of the data that it normally would have. Almost like 80% of the data, because Trump fired all the data people, are now just guesses. And it's the Trump regime guessing if inflation is going up. So I don't even trust the numbers right now, which show inflation surging, but I think it's surging significantly more. If you just go out to stores or buy coffee or out in public, you know things are more expensive. Here's the guy that Donald Trump wants to put in charge of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, E.J. Antoni, who has no experience to ever have this position. We're learning more information about him right now. Like in his office, he has a photo of Adolf Hitler's favorite ship. Donald Trump's nominee to lead the Bureau of Labor Statistics has a giant picture of Adolf Hitler's favorite battleship in his office. And he just says it's because he likes that ship. It was the Bismarck, the World War II battleship. Bismarck was Hitler's favorite ship. And there's randomly the German Hitler ship in this guy's office. Oh, there he is right there. Is he in the insurrection? Was he with the crowd? There's E.J. Antoni right there. Trump's pick to lead the Bureau of Labor Statistics, E.J. Antoni, was spotted in the crowd at the Capitol during the January 6th insurrection. The White House says that he was just a bystander who wandered over after seeing news coverage. NBC News reports. What the hell are we doing here, folks? What the hell is going on? No wonder a new YouGov poll shows that only 31% of Americans view Donald Trump as telling the truth. I don't know who these 31% MAGA mush cult members are who think that this guy's telling the truth, but the new YouGov poll says only 31% believe he's telling the truth. He's screwing over farmers so bad. U.S. agriculture trade deficit just hit a record high. Farmers are going to have to be bailed out again, just as they were bailed out during the first Trump regime. Horrible, horrible statistics there. New data showing the deficit's jumping 19% to $291 billion in July. I thought you were all deficit hawks. I thought we were collecting so much money in tariffs. I thought you all brought in $17 trillion. Didn't you say that you brought in $17 trillion with all of these deals? So how could it be that the deficit jumped 19% to $291 billion? This is despite only $21 billion collected from Americans being taxed due to the higher tariffs right here. The deficit for 2025 is already $1.63 trillion, up 7% from the same period last year. Oh, so the deficit's higher. The debt right now is surging in the United States. But I thought, Donald Trump, you alone were going to be the person who could fix it all. And we're seeing too, with all those pod bros speaking to, we're speaking to the young men, particularly particularly right now, young men with college degrees have worse job prospects than high school students. Let me repeat the stat again. Young men who have graduated from college will have a more difficult time getting a job in this economy than people who just out of high school. I want to show you this as well. This right here is from the AFL-CIO tour, because this gives me hope right here. Here's an AFGE member from St. Louis, Missouri, a veteran, a nurse, talking about unions fighting with how unions fight for their workers, fight for a good paying job, and how he's fighting for future generations, his children he's fighting for right here. You see him right here. Here's Simon. Listen to what he has to say. Let's play this clip.
Better in a union because workers get a say in their workplace. And something's going wrong, something's not safe, we can speak up and we can have our voice and we can hold management to the contract. It's important that federal workers have bargaining rights because we know that people don't always make the best decisions, and that includes management. And when management aren't making the best decisions or making decisions that are in the interest of the employees or in the interest of the veterans that we serve, it creates a problem and can create unsafe conditions for our veteran patients and for the workers. And having a union in the workplace gives us a safe place to work.
We've been on that tour, by the way, with the AFL-CIO. And it's been an honor to be on that tour, speak with workers, speak with unions, and AFL-CIO is just doing a magnificent, magnificent job on that tour right there as well. So we'll keep you posted every step of the way here on the MeidasTouch Network. I think the scenes that you see in Belgrade, that we've seen in other areas where repressive Putin-backed regimes have tried to do this to the citizens, it doesn't end well. That's why we don't do that in the United States of America. Anyway, hit subscribe, help us get to 6 million. Thanks for watching and have a good day.
New Midas merch drop! Check out the latest pro-democracy sticker packs, t-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, and more. All at store.MeidasTouch.com.